October 2025. Dina Wakley Media release. Hello, hello. Just get it all combobulated here. Okay, I think we're set. Greetings, Earthlings. How are we doing? Just got to get you pulled up. It is a beautiful day in the neighborhood. I hope everyone is doing okay. Thank you so much for popping on. We got Michelle. We got Claire. Hello, hello. Yolene and Randy and Karina. Thank you guys so much for being here. I haven't talked much today yet. So if I'm a little froggy, that's why. Tracy, Papercraft, yay. Crafty Adventurista from Carol. Hi, Faye, Karen, Gloria, Karen. Hey, friends. I'm really glad you're with me. As always, if you have a store, I don't think that YouTube allows you to post links. I'm not sure, but tell everybody where you are. Tell everybody how to find you. Please, please, please. I would love that. Hey, Kathy. We'll just hang out for a couple of minutes. Hey, Roseanne. Hey, Patty from Ranger. Always awesome to have Patty here. Sometimes Kathy from Ranger pops on. Milagros, mi amiga de Puerto Rico. Una artista muy bonita. There's Kathy. Hey, friends. I got a little sneak peek here in front of you. So you guys know that I have Patreon, right? I used to do it on Facebook, my little subscriber group. Now my subscriber group is on Patreon. So if you go to patreon.com and look for Art of Dina Wakley, it's $5 a month. Little pro tip here, if you sign up on your cell phone, Apple charges you a surcharge. So sign up on your computer and then use the cell phone app to view. But this is what we did in last week's Patreon, because I am not the best at keeping secrets to my Patreon group, my subscriber supporter group. So they kind of have seen this new release, and so we played with it in the last supporter video. So even if you join now on Patreon, you can go back and watch. And what we did is we did all the different coloring of these stamped images. So I will explain that a little bit better here as people find us this beautiful Wednesday morning. But this was the last subscriber video. All the subscriber supporter videos since I started doing supporters, they're all on Patreon as well. So you can go back and watch all of them. I mean, like, there's 250 or so videos. So, hey, welcome on, Julia and Nancy. If you've popped on and I haven't said hello, I'm just a dingling and haven't noticed. Hopefully my little animals are decent today. Nori has been meowing, and Piper is bored. They want to play, so I gave Piper a chewy snack to keep her quiet, so hopefully she'll be okay. Hey, Raina. I'll be seeing you soon. I head to England next week to teach my last teaching gig of the year. Remember to hit like. Thanks, Gloria. So we will just wait. So what happened in the last supporter retreat, or not supporter retreat, subscriber video, is we took these new images, these are stamps if you haven't figured that out, and we colored them with different mediums. So this one is painted, thank you, Tracy, yep, definitely post how to find you. This one's painted with my acrylic paint. Okay, so these went from plain stamped images like this on just plain cardstock, to colored. So how I did it is, this is painted with acrylic, okay? Went through all the process of how I got it to look like that. This one is done with scribble stick. And then we wet the scribble stick as well. So this is like scribble stick and water. And then this one is scribble stick, not wet, just sort of pressed really hard and tried to blend, if that makes sense. We used the white scribble stick actually for this one to act like a blending tool, like a blending stump. And then this one, believe it or not, is gloss. So I took the stem of the gloss and colored this one with the gloss. So that was the last subscriber. Okay, so here's my little hint. So let me show you the new stuff. We're gonna get rolling. I'm going to show you the new goods, and then I'm going to show you the samples that I made with the new goods. And then I'm going to do a quick little demo with one of the stencils and some gloss. And then I'm going to set you free on this fine Wednesday, and I can't wait to see what you guys make. All right, first, that is the peak of the stamp set. So I haven't done face stamps in a while. So I'm excited to have face stamps. So these are images that all came out of the altered book that I did end of last year. So this is called Collage Portraits, and I always say, sometimes cutting out stamped images is I'm not very good at it. So what's fun about these stamps is that you can just cut them into a square. If you want to still cut them into a head shape, you certainly can, and use them like a head. But right now they're just collaged into a square, which makes them so insanely easy to use and cut out. And again, the original drawings were all from my altered book. And if you go back on my YouTube, you can find a flip through of that altered book as well. And you'll see all of this stuff here. So you'll see some of the layers that happened, kind of came through in the final stamped image. So this is called Collage Portraits stamp set for this release. You'll see it used all throughout. I've really gotten into coloring and painting it this time. Hey, LaQuisha. All right. So that is the new stamp set. We have two new stencils for you. This one is called Create Yourself, and I laughed when I picked this off the desk this morning because look, I got some paint on the outside of the packaging. Of course I did. The phrase, this one has a little bit bigger text than the last word set that came out, word stencil, because I like mixing and matching the different font sizes, and I'll show you a couple samples or one sample for sure that I did with the different font samples. But this one says, life isn't about finding yourself, life is about creating yourself. The first revolution is when you change your mind, do what sparks a light in you. So anything with words, I love. I'm a big journaler. I believe in journaling. I'm determined I'm determined to bring back text and journaling this coming year. It's going to be one of my focuses for sure. So, new stencil, you can't get enough of words. Another stencil, this is my current obsession. This stencil, she is called Proud Woman. So many fun techniques. So awesome. I am obsessed with this stencil. I cannot wait to see the magic you guys make with it. Proud Woman. More faces. I guess we're doing faces this release. We've got face stencil. We've got face stamps. And in that theme, we've got sort of face tissue as well. This is called photo transfers, and lots of fun, quick imagery. If you don't feel like stamping something, right? I know. I love that LaQuisha said "Proud Woman" #me. Amen. What's fun about photo transfers is some of them look like vintage photos, and they're just great when you want to add something quick and bold to a tag, a card. Are these products with retailers? So Dorothy, they should have been able to order a week ago, so they'll be waiting on their shipments. Their shipments should be coming in any day. So definitely ask for them at your local retailer. So you've got all different sizes and kinds of imagery here. Remember, tissue lasts forever. Like, the thing about tissue, you get 20 sheets, you get 10 designs, 2 of each design, and it seriously goes and goes and goes. Like, there's so much material and imagery in the tissue sets. Sometimes I wonder if we're just giving you too much. But Michelle says her delivery's here Monday. Woohoo! So definitely give the stores that you order from a chance to get it, and that would be amazeballs. So lots and lots and lots of imagery, and I even went back through sort of unfinished pages. LaQuisha says, it's not too much. Yeah, there's some vintage images that you'll recognize because they're in the public domain, and images that I've used before. So they just make me happy. I mean, I went through and used them. I just like slapped them on everything. So they're super fun. And again, I love, oh gosh, sometimes you just, it's like instant gratification, right? So tissue. All right, so far we've got tissue. So far we have stamps. So far we have Proud Woman. So far we have Create Yourself, stencil, okay? And now the next thing is something that my subscriber supporter group has known about for months and months and months. Gosh, Kathy and Patty, can you remember when we approved this next item? It's been a really long time. So it's been in the pipe for a long time. And so excited that it's here. In fact, I've had a sample of this floating around in my studio for a really long time. And let me show you what I wrote on the front of this item. I wrote, hey Dina, do not cut this up, because the last item in this release is a new journal. We have a smaller size, smaller format journal for you this release. It is a watercolor journal. That's what we're calling it, a watercolor journal. It says 300 GSM, so which is about like 130-ish pound watercolor paper. It has a really nice weight. It's not as thick and heavy as like the old handmade watercolor paper that was in like the old white journal. Okay, it's kind of like my favorite 130-pound watercolor paper that I use, that I hand out in watercolor class or class all the time. Now people will say, well, why do you need a watercolor journal if you don't watercolor? Kathy says, June 2024. Oh my gosh. So over a year ago? So if you are a watercolorer, like LaQuisha says, it handles watercolor so well. If you are a watercolorist, the watercolor paper is great. If you're not a watercolorist, because I'm not really a good watercolorist, but I want paper strong enough to hand up, to stand up to all the nonsense that I do to it, to my gloss, to my scribble sticks, to my acrylic paint, to 20 layers, okay? It stands up to that as well, okay? So for over a year, I've had this floating around. This is why I had to write myself a note, because you guys know that I am a queen of cannibalizing everything I do, and I do it, and then I later chop it up and use it for other things. So the size, Marie, is 6x9, okay? A5 size. So because my 6x6 craft is gone and my 6x6 white journal is gone, listen, sometimes we can't reorder that stuff because sales slow down and reorder quantities are high, and so we design new things, right? And so this kind of fills the gap from those smaller journals that are discontinued, and it's portable, it's travelable. It's easy to use. Claire says I've nearly filled it. I have filled 2 all the way, with another one rolling. So I'll show you the pages for all of these. So you're really gonna love it. You really are. It is high quality, and then listen. You guys know I love my ledger journal. I love it, but that ledger journal is it's a bigger format, right? Let's see, let me grab one. So here it is in comparison to ledger. Okay, so here's the ledger. And then here is the new smaller journal. Okay, you're gonna love it. There's something about, instant gratification too. So when you have a slightly smaller footprint, then, it does fill up really easily and quickly. Some people have told me, yeah, I'm a little intimidated by the ledger. I promise if you just start with the ledger, you'll find it's insanely easy to work in, but it is bigger, right? So, you know, anyway, we've got the best of both worlds here, right? Michelle says you need all sizes. You do. You totally need all the sizes. All right, so let me flip through journals, okay? So I'm just going to kind of tell stories and flip through so you can see, and I'll point out stuff. So when I start flipping through this one, and which again, I've had it filled for a very long time, you're not going to see new stuff in this journal till I move to the other one, though I did stick some of the tissue, because again, this journal's been 100% completed for a long time. Okay, so again, it watercolors beautifully. It takes paint and medium beautifully. Now, do you need to gesso this journal? There's a new stamped image. Okay, hey friends, thanks for popping on. If you've popped on and I haven't said hello, hello, welcome, welcome. So I did go back through this journal, even though I had done it ages ago, and I stuck stamped images on it, and I stuck the new tissue images on it because I just wanted to. Okay, so it's just a delight to work in, truly. Does that look familiar? That's the original drawing for one of the bear images for the bear sets. This is the one time I actually used watercolor paint because I was testing it out for the watercolor, and it worked great. A little image here from from the new tissue set. You can draw on it, paint on it, do all the things. There's Proud Woman. It just stood up to my abuse. It really did. So you're gonna find it a delight to work in. Gloss on it. Oh, I think I started talking about gesso. Squirrel. Do you need to gesso it? I don't know. I would say, because like the black journal, I do prefer to gesso the watercolor paper in the black journal because it's handmade watercolor paper that's super absorbent. So I tend to, when I use the black journal, I do tend to gesso. When I say the black journal, I mean this one. I mean the one that has all the different cool substrates in it, right? It's got the craft. It's got the burlap. The black journal has the canvas, right? So when I get to the watercolor pages in the black journal, I do like to gesso them because I find I like the way paint moves better on this handmade watercolor paper if I gesso, okay? So the black journal, I tend to gesso the watercolor. This one, I don't know if it's, you know, I would say up to you. Try it both ways. Sometimes I gessoed it because I was in gesso mood. Sometimes I just hit it with paint straight away. Yeah, I always said gesso's like underwear, especially, you know, now what I teach, I still believe that, but I will tell you that what I tend to do for gesso now is it's substrate dependent. So if your substrate requires it, here's photo transfers tissue here. If your substrate, you know, needs that extra strength, if your substrate needs, you know, it's going to absorb your paint weird, tissue here, then I do gesso. If it's going to stand up to what I'm doing, then I don't. Does that make sense? Okay, so here is a little tiny face from the new tissue set. New tissue set here. All right, so completely full that one. Hey, in there again, I still think it's funny. I had to write myself a note because you know that there were a few times that I had itchy fingers that I wanted to chop that sucker up. All right, next one that is full. So happy to new tissue, new tissue. Claire says she hasn't really gessoed it. So, I mean, I would say it's up to you for, you know, I do pretty much gesso that black journal religiously. This one, if I feel like it. And you're just going to have tons of fun playing. So eventually there's tissue here. Eventually we'll get to when I have the new stencils here and more of the new stamps. You can draw straight on the pages. It takes scribble stick and gloss beautifully. All right, so new tissue, new stamped image. So remember when you get your new stamped image, your new stamps. Stamp them on all the things. Stamp it on plain collage paper. Stamp it on cardstock. Stamp everything on typed ledger. Just stamp all the things, okay? So then when you go to create, you've already got the stamping done, right? Here is Proud Woman. Here is tissue. Proud Woman, Proud Woman. Again, you're going to see a lot of her because I'm sort of obsessed with Proud Woman. It just makes it for a great presentation on a page. Stamps, new stamps, collage portraits. Is that what I called it? New stamps. I mean, I just went cuckoo. Stamped, new stamps here. New stamps here. You'll see in the background too, sorry I haven't been pointing it out very well, the new Create Yourself text. Just works awesome. Here's an image that I just painted. Okay, I really had fun painting these. This sample I'm obsessed with because what I did is I started the page with all the different alphabet stencils that I've come out with. The old school alpha, the new stencil, Create Yourself. What is the little one called? Do you guys remember? This one. This little stencil that came out a while ago. Anyway, so all of the new alphabets, all the new, not alphabets, all of the stencils that I've come out with that have letters on them, I layered them here, and then I stenciled the new Proud Woman stencil over all the alphabets. So here I stuck tons and tons of the imagery from the new tissue set down. Is she collage paper here? No, I stenciled her right on. So lots of different layered images from that tissue set, and then I painted over it and sort of funkified it. And this actually I cut out of an art card. I just thought it was the perfect size for what I needed. So when you have those art cards, don't be afraid to cut them up and use them in your collage. Have a set for inspiration and have a set for prompts, and then have a set of art cards for collage fodder. It works out really well. So again, more tissue. These were a couple tags that I did, and then I stuck them in the journal. Little stamp there. And then I had all these leftover bits that I just put them on the last page of the journal. Leftovers. All right, a couple more flip throughs, and then I'll do a quick demo. I'll show the goods one more time and then do a demo. All right. So here's stamped images. So you can tell I like my little tip-ins lately. Been enjoying that. It's called Feel Your Magic. Thank you. New Create Yourself back here. Tissue in the background, tissue in the foreground. You've got Create Yourself in the background. You've got tissue imagery here. Tissue imagery, stamp set, text in the background. All of the delicious layering, right? Tissue. Tissue. This is what I'm going to show you how to do with Proud Woman right here. Tissue, alphabet. That's old school alpha in the background there, looks like. What am I sticking? So I'm sticking together here, of course. That might be it for that book. Oop, that's mop up, right? Okay. So let me show you how I got Proud Women to look like this, but let me run through the new goods one more time before I do the demo in case you want to piece out. All right, we have the brand new journal, 6x9 watercolor journal with watercolor paper. It's like cold press watercolor, so it's not, but it's not crazy like hot press smooth, but it is, it's definitely smoother than like the watercolor paper that was in the blue journal in the old white journal of mine. Yeah, okay. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. Can't wait to see. So portable. We've got a new stencil called Create Yourself. Okay. We have a new stencil called Proud Woman, my current obsession. We have a new stamp set called Collage Portraits. They're just so fun to paint and work with. And then we have new tissue called Photo Transfers with tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of imagery for you to use as focal points, for you to embed in your underlayers, all the things, right? Okay, so there you go. That is the new release. So let me show you how I did this, because I did this and then I'm like, it was imperfect and I decided to love it. I like imperfection, right? Sometimes I feel like, you know, with art journaling, we get so particular and we feel like, oh, if it didn't turn out exactly like I wanted, you know, we're hard on ourselves. And I always say that one of the best things you can do for your own art is to have low standards. Have low expectations, okay? All right, so here's what I'm grabbing. I'm grabbing black paint and a mini blending tool. I'm grabbing the stencil. Already out. What did I do with her? I'm gonna have to open her again. Did I not just have her in my hand? I do this every time, you guys. Do you guys get sick of it? I'm really curious. Do you guys watch me and just think, this woman needs a handler? Because sometimes I feel like I need a handler when I literally have my hand on something 2 minutes ago that I have then misplaced. And I don't know why I do it. I seriously don't. All right. Oh, she's on the floor back there. All right. I've got the Proud Woman stencil. I've got, oh good, thanks Patty. And I'm going to use gloss, okay? So I've got some Stoked, I've got some Sunshine, I've got some Watery, Taffy, I've got some Peacock. I've got all different iterations of gloss over here. Unprimed page, okay? No, nothing on the page. Let's see if that one might have some gesso on it. So I'm going to use an unprimed page. Yeah, this page I've gessoed, so I'm going to flip here and do it right here. All right. So you're going to place your stencil, okay? And then you're going to start adding color. And might it seep under? Yep. Might it get where you don't, might it get where you don't want it to get? Yep. Are you going to care? Nope. Because you're going to have low art standards and you're going to be throwing color around and you're not going to be cleaning a dang toilet and it's going to be the best. Okay? All right, so I'm going to spray. That's Taffy. Remember the Megan method of cleaning the nozzle. So Megan Quinlan says you dip the nozzle in your dirty paint water and you then, dripped water on it, and you rinse off the plastic off that nozzle, and then guess what? They spray. They don't clog. Rinse. Now, if they're already clogged, you know what you got to do? You got to replace the sprayers. Okay? So that was Sunshine. Remember, gloss will kind of act like a resist. So I have to say I'm proud of myself because I have myself trained to dip them in my dirty paint water. I'm just proud of myself for cleaning something. You guys can go on the record and say Dina actually cleaned something. I have now trained myself. I'm just going to blot the water off the front of that stencil because it's super watery. Oops, I moved it. So what you want to do, this is a Stoked, you want to throw all different kinds of gloss onto the stencil, onto the wide open parts of the stencil. So that was all sprayed. Now, sometimes it can anti-mib. The problem is that this is plastic, because it's not ink. so it won't ever dissolve. Once it's hard, it's hard. So that kind of blows a little bit. All right, now I'm gonna flick gloss directly down into. So that was sprayed. This is Peacock. So let's see, I used Stoked, I used Taffy, I used Watery, and I used Sunshine. And now I am taking the stem out of the gloss and I'm just flicking it downwards. Yeah, I pour and have fun too, Tiff. But you can always replace them if you need to. Okay. So that was Peacock. Flick it downwards. Boop. This is going to be Mustard. Flick it downwards, and you just need to be at peace with whatever happens to this. If it seeps under, oops, oh well, right? Who cares? It's just art. Let's see, do we want to add any other colors on there? I'm looking around my desk, seeing what I can see. How about some papaya? By the way, papaya and Sedona look so good together. And I learned that from Leslie. All right, a little bit of papaya. All right, I think that's good. I think I have a lot of chaos happening there. I actually think I'm gonna get an amazing print on a piece of plain collage paper from that stencil. So hold on. I'm gonna grab a piece of plain collage paper and I'm gonna lay that over and see what kind of print I get. It might not work, it might. If it works, great. If it doesn't, no big deal. Kinda. I can maybe make that work later. Okay, so I'm gonna move it. You're gonna see how I got seepage, right? I got seepage under there. Oh, you're just gonna have to be at peace with it. You're gonna have to be at peace with color mixing. You're gonna have to just be at peace. But you want the beautiful plethora of color, okay? So I'm gonna blot any moisture off the top of the face of the stencil, and then I'm gonna put it back, okay? And now I'm gonna take my black paint. Yeah, I think that's about right. Little tiny bit of black acrylic, full strength black Dina Wakley paint. This is just gonna make the features pop. And blending tool. Yes, this is all still wet. No, I'm not going to, no, I'm not gonna wait for anything to dry. All right, so then I'm going to concentrate this. And if you don't want to use black, just use a color that contrasts, okay? You want to contrast against all that color. So I'm going to make sure the features pop, and then around the edges, okay, of the stencil, I'm gonna basically shade and shadow with this black paint. Because I don't want to cover up. I mean, I could just fill in. Well, then what was the point of doing all that color, right? So I'm kind of gonna mix a little bit of shadow and shading. You could use cocoa, you could use blackberry, you could use night. Okay, so I'm basically giving it an outline. You're outlining with this paint. Okay. And yep, it's still wet. And yep, you will survive. Okay. Ta-da! Yep, that's why she looked like collage paper. All right, so then I'm going to come in with my Stabilo pencil. Looks like I goofed up on the eye there a little bit. So fill in any bits that you might have missed or sort of have user error. Neck and shoulders, okay? I have to say I don't love a floating head. You guys that have been around me for a while, you know that I always have an aversion to floating heads. Whenever I teach faces or whatever, I'm like, ooh, I don't want the heads to float. So by adding a neck and shoulders, I don't have a floating head. And then let's fill in around the outside. We'll use some watery. Still obsessed with this color. Came out, it's one of the newer colors, came out recently. Feeling around. And then what are the other things you'd like to add to your journal? Do you want to add text with a pen or a pencil? If you're going to use a pen, please let it dry all the way, otherwise you will ruin your pen. Do you want to add more stenciling? Do you want to add collage? You know, what are all of, yeah, it would work good with pensive as well. What are all your favorite little mixed media techniques? Add them. Do them. Okay? If you want to add even more outline, you can. Let's put some of that new alphabet, or I keep calling it alphabet. It's not really an alphabet. It is phrases, I guess. Let's put some of that on there. So I do wash these. I throw them in my dirty paint water, these little foamies. And then when I rinse out my brushes, which, you know, admittedly I'm not the best at, but when I rinse out my brushes, I rinse out the little foams to let them dry. And I don't use the domed ones because they're so nice and like luxurious, and I'm just gonna trash them. So save your domed ones for ink. Right? I think. So add whatever zhuzhing and excitement you feel like adding. Stamps, stencils, polka dots. You know I love my polka dots. Patty says that you can also revive them with a little Murphy's. Murphy's oil soap will save your honey for a lot of applications, so that's a good tip to use them for the sponges too. Viewfinder film fun. I think this stencil is called Dotted Tape. Can you believe I remembered the name of a stencil? I can't believe it. All right, so that's how I made that little page. Here's the other one. Oh, it looks like that one too. I decided to drip paint on. Oh, I didn't even color around the outside of that one. Huh. All right, let's do a drip. Whoop. Got away from me. Tube so well. Kind of love it. I'm gonna pick this up and just let it go. Sometimes I've learned too that, not sometimes, always, that you can tell your drip where you want it to go by starting the path, and then your drips will follow that path. And a little bit of black gloss. A little black speckle. Okay, my friends, that's how I made that sample, and then I hope you enjoyed that little demo. Play with your stuff. Please remember to tag Dina Wakley, and it looks like a birthday hat. It kind of did, didn't it? Please remember to tag Dina Wakley, tag Ranger Ink, so that we see your amazing artwork. Look for lots of samples made by different artists as well. I hope you guys have a wonderful Wednesday. Support your local stores and work your magics, friends. Work your magic, work your magic. I hope you enjoyed. All right, bye everybody.